I am Supreme, and today's Astro Oracle investigation will be on Sophie Reeder. Sophie Reeder was 15 years old when she went missing from her Fort Lauderdale home in Florida on May the 20th, 2017. Today is August the 21st, 2025. Sophie Reeder has not been found or seen or heard of since. What happened to Sophie Reeder? Who's responsible? What happened? Where is she? And why? Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I drop my investigations. Shouts out to my subscriber Abraham Isaac for suggesting this reading. I appreciate all my subscribers. When you suggest readings, please know that I do have what you suggest on my itinerary. It's just a matter of time that I get around to it. Okay, I do not forget. Okay, I love communicating with my subscribers, and I appreciate all of y'all's support for my channel. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I drop these investigations. Also, in the link below is a tutorial video that I made, so you're able to go there and click on any planet, any sign, any house number that you hear me talk about in any of my charts or any of my cards that I pull, so you will see how I formulate my story. It'll give you a general meaning of each planet, each number, each house, each sign that you will see me pull on any of my cards or in any of my charts. Okay, so let's get to this timeline to find out what happened to Sophie Reeder. She was 15 years old. Okay, she left her father's home. She was living with her father at the time. She was going through some things with her mother. Sophie Reeder, by the way, is biracial. Okay, her mother is black, African American, and her father is white. So she was going through some issues with her mom. Her mom made reports that, she was the typical teenager. A lot of her friends were talking too on the media about how they were rebellious as kids. They used to throw eggs at the churches. Sophie Reeder was a rebellious kid. All kids are rebellious. They do what they want to do. Okay. So also, what I noticed is that her mom was talking about how Sophie Reeder used to come home and destroy the house and wish death. She used to wish death on her mother. So right there, I knew there was some mental health issues going on with Sophie Reeder. Okay. And also, as I kept watching a lot of these documentaries, it was confirmed that Sophie Reeder did suffer mental health issues. Okay. To which she began to be homeschooled. Okay. And that's when she had a lot of access to online, internet, and which we're going to get to, which may play a key role in her disappearance. So her dad calls her mom that day claiming he hadn't seen Sophie in 4 days. Hopefully during those 3 days, he was looking for his daughter. So that way he wouldn't have to call her mother with the bad news. So, because I know he didn't wait 4 whole days to report to the mother that our daughter is missing. So, surveillance footage captures her walking down the street, okay, on the night that she disappeared, once they began the investigation. And that was the last time she was seen. Also, there was another surveillance footage of her in a regular neighborhood, walking down the sidewalk with her headphones in her ear. So she appeared to be in her own world as I watched the video myself. No telling whether she was coming or going, but she was in her own world. Now, her mother discovered Sophie's search history on her laptop or an iPad of a sugar daddy website where young girls connect with older guys who pay them apparently just to be in their presence. The family and law enforcement believes that Sophie is a victim of sex trafficking, not self. She's a victim of sex trafficking. So that's all the information I have so far. Also, I heard that, when her mother started searching Sophie's room, she found liquor bottles, she found drugs, she found a BB gun. Like, She was so surprised that her daughter was living that lifestyle. So there was a lot going on. When her father searched her room, because remember, she was staying with her father last. Her father was the last one to see her. So when her father searched her room, there was a candle that was still lit in her bedroom, and there was $300 in cash in a bag sitting beside her bed. So, what a 15-year-old is doing with $300 in cash sitting by the bed, we don't know, but we're soon to find out. So, I'm going to be looking inside of the fifth house, which is where I can get a sign of whether there was some sex trafficking going on or sexual abuse, the fifth and the eighth house. Okay, I'm looking in Leo's house and Scorpio's house. Okay, the toxic side of Leo's house or Scorpio's house, because I don't want y'all to think that Leos and Scorpios are predators. But the toxic energy of both Leo and Scorpio together represents sex trafficking. Okay, molestation, child abuse, things of that nature. Scorpio represents sex, Leo represents children and play. Okay, also Leo represents playful love affairs. Okay, Leo energy. So Sophie Reeder, I have her chart in front of me. She was born February the 19th, 2002. So on that day, the sun was in Pisces and the moon was in Taurus. And y'all know how I formulate time. I put the Taurus moon inside of Pisces house. Pisces is the 12th house. So when Taurus is in the 12th house, Gemini is rising. This is Sophie's birth chart. This is a third house chart. This is the local environment, which is where she was actually last seen. So we're going to be looking in this chart to find out what's going on with Sophie Reeder. Okay, now what's going to connect the dots is the day she went missing. She went missing May the 20th, 2017. On that day, the sun was in Taurus. Because see, when she was born, the moon was in Taurus. But the day she went missing, the sun was in Taurus. So y'all already see two dots that I'm going to connect. What was going on with Taurus then and now. And the moon was in Pisces. Isn't that something? The day she disappeared, both the sun and the moon were in opposite positions. The day she was born, the sun was in Pisces and the moon was in Taurus. And the day she disappeared, the sun was in Taurus and the moon was in Pisces. You see how these synchronicities line up? So when I put Pisces in Taurus's house, which is the second house, guess what's rising? Aquarius. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about why Aquarius is rising. Aquarius is the individual, is the group member, the gang, the affiliate, an organization. Okay, sorority, fraternity. Aquarius represents humanity and all of the different walks of life thereof. Different races, different walks of life. Everybody has their own unique purpose. We're all under one umbrella called humanity. That is Aquarian energy. But these also represent strangers, people you get to know. And then you find out what y'all have in common and y'all become friends. So Aquarius is the energy of friendship. So why is Aquarius rising? Let's look at Sophie's birth chart to find out why. Where does Aquarius energy come from? Since it came first the day she vanished, this friend, this individual, this group activity. So the day Sophie was born, since Gemini came first, which represents the local environment, neighbors, local travel, and it was also said that her phone pinged close to a local apartment complex where she actually knew an older guy from, because they was able to unravel due to phone history that she was communicating with this older guy. So in her local environment, that's Gemini energy. So where was Aquarius though? Aquarius was in the ninth house. The ninth house is the house of long distance travel. That is also the house of the foreigner. So this could be a foreign individual, because Aquarius energy is the individual. So when it's in the house of foreign travel and immigration, okay, ninth house is also the house of grandparents, and it's also the house of churches, airports, and colleges. Okay, it could be a member of any of these backgrounds. Okay, so this particular individual happens to come first the day she vanished. Okay, now let's follow the planets that rule what come first. The day Sophie vanished, Aquarius rules Uranus, period. But let's find out where Uranus was at the day Sophie disappeared. Uranus was in Aries, and Aries is in the third house. Does that sound familiar? Third house? That is Sophie's birth chart energy, the third house. So we're connecting the dot. Whatever went down with Sophie Reader happened in the third house the day she vanished. Because, like I said, she's even a third house individual. You know, you see how energy synchronizes and tells a story? Energy does not lie. So, the third house is Gemini's house, okay? That is local travel. Aries represents the self. It represents the pursuit of something. It is the first energy in us, the first energy in the zodiac. We all have Aries energy. Aries represents what you pursue. So that day, she was pursuing travel. Where was she going? Let's follow Mars because Mars rules Aries. Where was Mars at the day Sophie vanished? It was in Gemini. See how energy doesn't lie? And Gemini comes first in her birth chart. So where was Gemini at the day she vanished? That's going to let us know where she was going. Gemini is in the fifth house. Remember, I told you I was going to look at what's going on in the fifth house. And sure enough, there you see for yourself, there goes Sophie traveling to go to this individual. Sophie was a victim of sex trafficking. You can see it for yourself. She's in the fifth house. That's Leo's house. Okay? Where was Leo at? Leo was in the seventh house of relationships and partnerships. This was the individual she was specifically going to see to get money. She was going to get money. What's in the eighth house? The eighth house, you will see Virgo. The eighth house represents what you do for another and what you get for another. So when Virgo is there, Virgo is our work ethic energy, is our service oriented energy, and the help that we get from others or that we do for others. So when Virgo is actually in the house of others, which is Scorpio's house, that means Sophie was on her way to go perform a service for another. And that service was most likely sexual in nature because the eighth house is the house of sex. And when Virgo is there, that represents the worker. Can't make this shit up. And she was on her way to this person's house because look inside of the sixth house, which is Virgo's house. You will see Cancer. Cancer is the home and family. Okay? Cancer is the home and family. Okay? Now, where was Cancer at the day Sophie was born? Where was Cancer at in Sophie's energy? It is in her house of money, the second house. That is the house of money. That is Taurus's house. So, she was going to this guy's house to get money, to perform sexual acts to get money. You could even look at the day she vanished. Look in the fourth house, which is Cancer's house. Look what you see. Taurus, money. She was going to his house to get money. Okay? Now, Sophie's sun is in Pisces. Look where Pisces is at the day she vanished. The second house of money. And her moon was in Taurus, which is the second house. Look where Aries is at. Being that Aries showed up in the third house represent where she was going. Remember that? Look where Aries was at the day Sophie was born. It's in the 11th house. And look what house is rising the day she disappeared. The 11th house. Energy does not lie. We're going to find out what happened to Sophie Reeder. Because we now know that she was in a relationship with this individual. And this guy, this older person, is a foreigner. Look at Libra. Libra is the energy of partnerships. Look where Libra is at the day she vanished, in the 9th house. And that is exactly where Aquarius, the individual, was. This friend was in her own energy the day she was born, in the 9th house. Her energy was set up this way. This chart I'm going to pull is going to be a chart from the ether. This is a chart from the ether. This is going to close out the case. Whatever comes first is going to close us out. And then we're going to find Sophie's body. The moon in the 3rd house. That 3rd house. Okay, that 3rd house, that travel. I told you, whatever happened to Sophie Reeder, it happened right there in that local environment. During her travels, walking, driving, whatever. The 3rd house represents walks, talks, driving, bikes, communication, texting, phone calls, all of that, interactions, the local neighborhood. And the moon is there. And Sophie was last seen in the local environment at night. The moon comes out when? At night. So the moon, the day she vanished, was in Pisces. And Sophie is a Pisces. See, she's talking. I made contact with her. Now let's see what she has to say. When the moon in Pisces lands in the 3rd house, what's rising? Capricorn. Why is Capricorn rising? That's the father figure. If you watch all my readings, you already know when that Capricorn comes out, that's the father figure. That's the sugar daddy. That when, especially when it comes to people who were said to be sex trafficking. Capricorn is the father figure, the authority figure, the sugar daddy, the pimp daddy, okay? The one in charge. Why did Sophie take us to this chart? Because she's letting us know this is who's responsible. This is where she's at, in the 3rd house, this Capricorn energy. Let's follow Saturn, because Saturn rules Capricorn. Where was Saturn at the day Sophie vanished? Saturn was in Sagittarius, which is the foreigner. And it represents foreign travel. So I'm going to tell you something. We're going to find out whether Sophie is dead or not. If she is alive, Sophie is out of the country. Where's Sagittarius at? So Sagittarius is in the 12th house, hiding. What's hiding? Is he hiding? Or is he hiding her body if she's dead or gone? Let's find out. Where's Sophie at in this chart that she pulled? She's in the 3rd house. Where's her moon at? Being that the moon was the card that came out. The moon in Pisces. But where was the moon at that day? It was in Pisces. Her moon is in Taurus. Where's Taurus at? In the 5th house. Remember I told you that 5th house. Sex trafficking for money. And look where Leo, because see, the fifth house is Leo's house. Look where Leo is at. In the house of sex. Sex. Sex trafficking for money. Bam, the second house, Aquarius. That's what was coming first the day she left, the day she vanished. She was a part of that group, that organization. Now, we're going to locate her body. But first, with this moon, let's follow Cancer, because the moon rules Cancer. Being that the moon in Pisces came out in the third house, where is Cancer at? Cancer's in the seventh house. Now, this could also, because I also styled, Cancer represents the mother. Okay, Cancer represents the mother. And Capricorn represents the father. Now, if this is not Sophie's mother involved or her father involved, is definitely a father figure in her life. There's foul play. Somebody that's playing a father figure, making her feel comfortable. Foul play. Set her up. Got her where they wanted her and did what they wanted with her. Maybe her mother knows, maybe she doesn't. Maybe her father knows, maybe he doesn't. But I do see their energy. So, this is the lost and found. This is how I locate the body, dead or alive. Where is your body, Sophie Rita? If Sophie Rita is alive, where is her body? If Sophie Rita is not alive, where is your body, Sophie Rita? Because see, what she can't tell me, the planets will. The etheric realm will. All right, let's find out where her body is. In the 12th house, location. And we just got finished talking about the 12th house because we had to follow Saturn because Capricorn came first and Saturn rules Capricorn. Saturn is in Sagittarius, which is in the 12th house. And look, we just asked, where's your body? In the 12th house. Location. Hiding. Now, this could mean hiding across seas, hiding in another country, because Sagittarius rules the 9th house of travel outside of the country. What's going on in Sagittarius' house? To better elaborate on this location. Virgo. Remember that energy? Virgo. That is the worker. That is the worker, the servant. The service that was the sexual service that was taking place the day she vanished. The sex worker. Now, she could, if she's alive, she's currently located in another country. Sex trafficking. That's what this is. This is not saying that she's dead. This is saying that she's located. This is saying where she's located at, dead or alive. Let's pull another card. Let's pull from the who. Who? Who can we reach out to and make contact with today that has answers on where Sophie Rita is located at? Who can law enforcement reach out to today that's within arm length, that knows what happened to Sophie Rita? Who can we reach out to today that knows exactly what happened to Sophie Rita and where she's at. An accessory in the 7th house, the partner. Now, the day Sophie was born, look what's in the 7th house. Sagittarius, which is that foreigner, which is where she's located at. Now, this foreigner that knows where she's at, this foreigner, I believe, is still here in the States. Okay? Now, the day that Sophie Reader vanished in the 7th house lets you know what she was doing with this partner. Leo energy, sex trafficking in the local environment. Because look inside of Leo's house, you'll see Gemini, the local environment. And the chart that was pulled by Sophie's energy herself in the 7th house, you will see Cancer, which is the home and family. Could this be someone linked to her mother? Or could this be someone linked to her father? Because when you look at where Libra's at, because Libra rules the 7th house, Libra's in the 10th house. And this is a 10th house chart. So if this Capricorn energy is not her father, this is her sugar daddy. This is somebody she was working for. This might be somebody her father knows. But her father may not have anything to do with it, but he just may be an accessory. But we know for a fact that a foreigner is involved. A foreigner is involved. And if Sophie is dead, that father figure, that authority figure, that pimp daddy, that sugar daddy is responsible. Because Capricorn energy is the energy of responsibility. And guess where that energy is at? In Sophie's chart. In the house of death. Look at Capricorn right there in the house of death. And Capricorn came first in the chart that she pulled. She might not be with us anymore. She might not be with us. Sophie Reader might not be with us. Let's pull some evidence. What is some evidence that can lead us? Yeah. I feel like this authority figure is a foreign authority figure, which is where she's located at. That's responsible because look where, because see, Saturn rules Capricorn, and look where Saturn is at in this chart. Saturn in Sagittarius is in the 7th house, which is where this accessory is. The person that's responsible for taking her overseas, if she's not dead, she's overseas. Energy doesn't lie. I believe Sophie is no longer with us. I believe she was sold. Firearm evidence and weapons in the 10th house. That's Capricorn's house. That's the father figure's house. That's the pimp daddy's house. And that is the exact chart that Sophie pulled. Sophie was murdered. 2929 on the timer. 1111. Sophie was murdered by the individual, the father figure that she was in a relationship with. See it for yourself. Before I close out, I want to pull one more who, just so we can confirm a suspect. I feel like this last card is going to close us out. I'm going to pick that firearm card up. Yep. Victim. She was killed. Another 10th house. Yep. She was killed. Let me pick up that other 10th house firearm. She was killed. She was murdered. Yep. She was murdered. She was murdered. And if she wasn't murdered, she's being held against her will. And that's going to complete my reading for Sophie Reader. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I drop these investigations. Y'all be blessed.